Hi Singapore, this is former Manchester United midfielder Paul Scholes, and you're listening to the guys on 938 Live Sports.
From 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sports. Cheers.
You're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live. A good Saturday to you and welcome to SportsZone right here on 938 Live. I'm Noor Farhan, flying solo today as I'll be taking you through the hour with our EPL fans in the studio. Now, I'm sure most of you will relate to my frustration of not being able to enjoy watching competitive football on the telly since the World Cup ended. But our show today, though, won't be on the international game as we'll be taking to the pitch and dive straight into the new English Premier League season, which kicks off tonight. We're also giving away a pair of Arsenal jerseys courtesy of Puma, and that's coming up later in our phone-in contest. Be the first caller with a correct answer and you'll win a large-size Arsenal home jersey, and the second caller with the correct answer wins the away kit, so do look out for that. Now let's introduce our guests for this week's show. We've got Manchester City fan club member David Reid. He's joined by Ng Kafa, who's a senior marketing executive at Puma Singapore, and he's here as an Arsenal fan. We also have 19-year-old Chelsea supporter Brian Ting, and from the Liverpool fan club in Singapore, Victor Koh. Welcome to the show, guys. Now, let's begin with you, Dave. As the defending champions, it's only right that the show begins with Man City. And first off, it's the first time for you on the show today. Why aren't you a Manchester United supporter, even though you're from Manchester?
Very good question, because I would say maybe 80-90% of the people I went to school with were United fans. I guess I just didn't want to jump on the bandwagon.
Well, usually we start by asking when did your love affair for the club start, but this time around we'll try something different. Instead, tell us, what is it about Man City that makes you proud as a fan all these years supporting them?
For me, well, we've been through definitely a lot more bad times than good times. I mean, I've supported my club through three pretty devastating relegations, while at the same time that lot down the road were winning trophies for fun. I never really expected City to be challenging for any trophies all through my life, really. So I never expected them to win a single trophy, let alone 2 league titles in 3 years and a couple of cups to boot as well. So it's fantasy football right now. Yeah,
now is the time where you rub in the salt on the wounds of those United fans who've been making fun of you back in the past, huh?
Yes, there's plenty more where that came from. Yeah.
Well, Kafa, it's on to you now, and that's most certainly striking Arsenal jersey you're wearing today. Now, quick work on the Puma event in Singapore last month, which saw Gunners legend Sol Campbell in town. Now, briefly tell us, what did he do in the Lion City?
Well, Sol had an eventful trip to Singapore, where he helped launch the new Arsenal kit by Puma this season. He was at the press event as well as a launch party where he strutted his stuff on the fashion runway, played some games and interact with the Gunners fans. He also conducted a football clinic with JSSL Arsenal School, where he had ran through some drills with them and gave them some footballing tips. And he concluded the trip with a meet and greet session at Puma Ion Store.
Well, it looks like he had a busy time in Singapore. He didn't just walk around Marina Bay to enjoy the sights.
No, we brought him out to try some local delicacies.
Like what, satay, crabs?
Hainanese chicken rice and chili crab and black pepper crab.
Nice, I'm hungry. I haven't had breakfast and now you're telling me about chicken rice and crab. Now back to our previous show, and same question as David, Kafa. What is it about the reigning FA Cup winners that makes you so proud of them as a loyal supporter?
Well, I believe over the years, it's the style of play, the exciting brand of football that caught my attention when I was younger, and also their focus on youth development, turning their ability to produce quality youth and also turning unknowns into stars.
Yeah, who can forget, right? Good example, Thierry Henry,
yes,
that those era. Now, if there was one man who epitomizes and really represents the club, Arsenal, who would it be and why?
Well, this is tough for me because I grew up watching Henry tear through defenses, so the idolization is there. But I think I will give it to Wenger.
Wenger?
Yeah, because how he transformed the club from boring Arsenal to how it is today, to the exciting attacking football. So I will give it to him, and also he has the eye for the youth to turn the unknowns into gems. And I think another aspect of him was the financial part.
Yeah, with the prudence, right?
Yeah, the prudence, how he managed to shift us from a 38k stadium to a 60k stadium. I think that I have give it to him.
Well said, well said. Now, on to you, Brian. You're a Blues supporter through and through. Why Chelsea? What's the deal with the London club that they made you start supporting them since you were 8 years old back in 2003?
Okay, because in 2003, it was during the Claudio Ranieri era. So that time, my favorite player was actually Gianfranco Zola. So what made me adopt Chelsea was because of him, because of his play style. Because he was so small, but he was able to like whiz past defenses and score amazing goals. And I still remember during his last match, I think it was at home against Liverpool, he made a substitute appearance and he was really very outstanding at the match.
2003, let me think. The name that comes to mind, Jimmy Floyd, Hasselbank.
Yes.
Those were your idols, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure. Now, some say that the club would have been nothing if not for the investment by Roman Abramovich. Will you say that that's a harsh statement to make? Especially, how some of your fans are bandwagoners.
I have to accept and say that it's kind of true because right now, football, we all need a lot of funds to actually improve our players and as well as the facilities. And I have to agree that if without Roman Abramovich funds, we wouldn't be who we are right now. I mean, I think the same goes to Man City too. Without their owners, without the funds that they have, they wouldn't have brought in all those players that they have and make them who they are right now.
Right then, from the blue half of London to the red of Merseyside. And Victor, it's over to you now. Let's start with your love for the club. Why is it that your heart is set upon supporting Liverpool? What is it about them?
Well, during the early 80s, when I first started this about Liverpool, it was because of Bruce Grobbelaar.
The goalkeeper with the jelly legs. Yeah,
yes.
Right. Tell me more.
So from there, I slowly started to notice the whole team, and which I slowly appreciate their passing game. For example, the likes of players like Ian Moby, Ray Houghton, and Kenny Dalglish.
Right, those old-time legends you're referring to. Now, they say that the truly hardcore Red fans, they eat, sleep and dream all things Liverpool. Is that the same for you?
Yes.
Is there, like, for example, what's the craziest thing you've done for Liverpool? A tattoo, maybe?
Going to meeting wearing a Liverpool tie.
That's a really brave boardroom decision right there, yes. Victor. Well, you're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and today we turn the focus on the new English Premier League season. And if you've just joined us, with us on the show is Manchester City fan David Reed, Liverpool supporter Victor Koh, diehard Gooner Engkafa, and Chelsea fanatic Brian Ting. And we'll be talking about your respective clubs much later in our show. Now, for now, though, let's cover the other clubs in the league where they stand in the scheme of things. And the club which has lost the most players to other outfits is Southampton. Now, Victor, this question is for you since your club bought as much as 3 Southampton players from the St. Mary's Stadium. Does this mean, though, that the Saints will struggle in the upcoming campaign?
Not necessarily. As long as Ronald Koeman knows what to do with the money, I believe that they should survive.
After all, Koeman is a former PSV coach. He would know a thing or two about coaching young players and getting the best out of players. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Now, are you impressed though by how Southampton is able to churn out talented English talents like a factory on a regular basis?
Yes, of course. Well, they come up with world-class players like Gareth Bale and the best England striker England ever had in Alan Shearer. So I think they should be in pretty good hands.
Yeah, David, you'd agree though, right? Like Southampton, they are like the talent factory for the English national team, and seeing how you're an England fan as well.
Very much so. I mean, the latest World Cup squad had a couple of their players in that no one had really heard of a couple of years ago. And to add to that list, you had Oxlade-Chamberlain, Theo Walcott. Earlier on than that, you got your Matt Letizier's. Yeah, they're a very important team for English football especially with the amount of foreigners that are in the game at the moment. It's not really giving the England manager too much choice of players to pick from.
And one of the players, former Southampton player, is Alan Shearer. He's a former Saints player, isn't it? Yeah. And let's touch on Newcastle United. Then on that note, Kafa, the Gunners, of course, have got a sizable French contingent at St. James's Park. Now, you guys bought Matthew Debuchy, the right back, right? From the Magpies. Now, will Newcastle repeat the same outcome as last season where they finished 10th place?
Actually, I believe for Newcastle, they can actually finish even slightly higher, probably 8 or 9. Yeah, so definitely, yes.
And do you think Alan Pardew, he'll get sacked if he fails to perform this season? It doesn't seem like his French contingent is really clicking. They haven't been really making waves in the league so far for the past 2-3 seasons, I think.
Yeah, well, given Newcastle's history, I believe expectation from fans will be there. And also, Pedro isn't exactly a popular figure at St. James Park. So, if he don't do well, I believe he will be axed.
Yeah, he wasn't even popular at West Ham even before that, I'm sure, yeah. Right now, Brian, on to you then. Chelsea, as you know, aren't the only blue team in the EPL. That's because Everton share the same colours as you guys, but in Merseyside, of course. Now, the Toffees enjoyed a good season in the last campaign under Roberto Martinez, finishing 5th. Do you think it's a fluke?
No, I don't think it's a fluke. I think they have the firepower. Because last season, Lukaku was on loan to them, and he scored a lot of goals for them. And they have very good attacking players in Mirelas and Ross Barkley, and they have a very solid defense as well as a very capable goalkeeper in Tim Howard.
Now, do you think they'll be able to repeat the feat this time around? Because it's admittedly harder. You look through all the top 4 teams, even like teams like Spurs, they've got good signings, a good new manager. It's going to be hard for Everton, don't you think so?
I think it's going to be tough, but I think they can do it because right now they have permanently signed Lukaku, and also they have also signed Christian Atsu from Chelsea on loan, and I think that he's a very exciting prospect to play for them. And I still think that Everton have what it takes because they are under good leadership under Roberto Martinez.
Yeah. Let's talk about Martinez. He's brought like a new philosophy to Everton. It's pretty exciting. That's different from the Moyes days, right? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Moyes days is just like, a bit kiasu and he just wants to defend. But Roberto Martinez, he's actually playing attacking football with Everton, and that actually makes them nicer to watch, and then they can win more games, I think.
Yeah, let's talk about that attack, that sizzling attack, and the new signing from Chelsea, Lukaku. Why is it that he didn't make it in Chelsea?
Well, I mean, a lot of Chelsea supporters and even Jose Mourinho, he said that it's because of attitude. That's why Chelsea didn't want him. But I felt that he had the right to have that kind of attitude because he already succeeded with West Bromwich and also Everton, and he scored, I think, 30 plus goals and even a hat-trick against Man U. So I feel that actually he had what it takes to even compete with Diego Costa or even Torres and Drogba for the starting striker spot.
But obviously he's going to spearhead the attack for Everton now, right?
Yeah, and of course I wish him all the best over there.
Alright, now David, you're concluding the review on the other strong teams in the EPL. Now we all know your Man City has got a really deep squad filled with at least 2 good players in every position.
Certainly has.
And a team that is similarly on that path is Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, they've signed a lot of players with the Gareth Bale money. But this time around, the Pochettino, they're having like 10 players on the shop window as he's like clearing the mess that has been made from Bias Boas and Tim Sherwood. What's the missing ingredient in Spurs, you think?
Well, I quite like Spurs because I really enjoyed putting 11 goals past them last season over 2 games. That was that was a lot of fun. But yeah, on a more serious note, always a pretty exciting team to watch, Spurs. Just mentally, it seems that they choke on the big occasion when it comes up against the big teams. But really, I don't think they really replaced the likes of Bale, Modric and Van der Vaart. That team that Redknapp had a couple of years ago. They were a very, very exciting team to watch, and they were pushing the top 4. They finished the top 4 one season. But I think they may have turned the corner this season with Pochettino. A lot of the Bale money went on a few average players, but
Deadwood.
But Eriksen was a very good signing. I rate him, and he might be one of the guys to watch this season. But the likes of Soldado and Lamalo, they were, after one season they've not looked good, but who knows? Pochettino may find a way of getting the best out of them.
Now, very quickly, let's cover the newly promoted teams who successfully made their way up to the top flight. We've got Burnley, Leicester City, and Queen's Park Rangers. Now, David, perhaps there could be an improvement in the QPR squad this season. I mean, they've got Rio Ferdinand and they've got Harry Redknapp as coach. You think they'll spring a surprise in this campaign?
I think with Harry in charge and with Hoddle helping him out there,
that's
right. I'm pretty confident they'll probably finish mid-table. I don't think they'll be too worried about relegation. They've got a pretty decent squad already. I think they've cleared out a lot of those deadwood from before, from the previous era, where a lot of players were on huge wages, but really weren't pulling their weight. The likes of Bosingwa, I think he was laughing the day they got relegated. And I remember he mentioned there was a toxic dressing room and a lot of the players didn't want to be there and they were there for the money. Seems like he's weeded out a lot of the bad eggs, and he's got a decent team. So yeah, I think they'll stay up.
All right, now Kafa and Victor, who do you think? Which are 3 clubs do you think will be relegated in 9 months' time? Victor, let's get.
Okay, the most likeliest will be Leicester, Burnley, and Crystal Palace.
All right, and Kafa.
For me, my choice will be Crystal Palace, Burnley, and Southampton.
Southampton. That's a
Yes.
shocker. Why is
Because,
that?
After losing so many of their key players, well, I know they have good records of producing good players from the academy, but I think probably this season will be tough for them.
Probably, and you might be right there. Now, we're going for the news headlines, but when we return, more on the top 4 teams. Plus, we're giving away 2 large-sized Arsenal home and away jerseys, which means 1 home, 1 away jersey in our phone-in contest. So stay tuned, because it's all happening right here on 938 Live.
Hi guys, this is Arsenal legend Sol Campbell, and you're listening to the only sports radio station in Singapore, 938 Live.
Welcome back to part 2 of SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Noor Farhan, talking about the new Premier League season. In the studio today, we've got our Manchester City fan club member David Reed. He's joined by Ng Kafa, who's a senior marketing executive at Puma Singapore, and he's here as an Arsenal fan. We also have 19-year-old Chelsea supporter Brian Ting, and from the Liverpool fan club in Singapore, Victor Koh. But before we move on with the rest of our discussion, let's give away now 2 Arsenal jerseys in the size of large, courtesy of our friends from Puma Singapore. First caller who gets it right wins the new home kit. Second caller with the correct answer wins the away jersey. It's as simple as that. All you have to do is to answer this question. Last season, Arsenal ended their 9-year title drought when they won a trophy. Which title was it? Now, Arsenal ended their 9-year title drought when they won a trophy. Which title was it? Call us now, 669-11938, with the correct answer. That's 669-11938. Alright then, let's get back to our show as we preview the top 4 squads in the Premier League. And Kafa, let's get going with you since we are on the beat with the Gunners. Now, one of the main talking points for Arsenal is the way Arsene Wenger has captured the star signing of Alexis Sanchez from Barcelona. Now, my question is, Kafa, why is that Wenger is turning his focus on signing expensive stars as opposed to bringing in unknown youngsters, which was the case not too long ago? They've got Mesut Ozil the previous season as well.
Yeah, so, okay, for this one, I believe there's a few factors to it. So, one is that our stadium debt is cleared. That free up more funds for us. And also, to keep our top players within the club, they need to send out a signal that it's long term. We want to achieve our ambition. We want to achieve something, so we need to bring in some stars players. And also another one is plain to see over the past few seasons. Yes, our youngsters are good. They've been playing well, so let's not discredit them. But in order to win titles, we needed more experience on the pitch and also in the locker as well. So by bringing a few more proven stars, I'm sure the mix of experience and youth will be a successful one.
Well, I've got a theory, Kafa. I mean, as you know, Arsenal have brought in young talents, right? But in the end, they all get sold to other clubs. A good example is Fabregas. I mean, Nasri also came to Arsenal as a young talent. Clichy as well. So is that one of the reasons why, instead of bringing up young players only to be sold to other clubs, let's now just buy proven talent?
Well, for over those few seasons where we lost our stars, we didn't manage to bring in more stars. So I believe the lack of ambition over there convinced them to leave, actually. So now we have like Ramsey, Russia, and all these guys. So by bringing better proven stars, it gives them a signal that, hey, the club means business. We want to achieve titles now.
Yeah, you mentioned Ramsey. It's like he really lit up the preseason for Arsenal this time around. Don't you agree?
Yeah, actually, even for last season, he was doing well until the injury came in.
Yeah, right. Now, you guys signed Sanchez. There's also the return of Joel Campbell after his Sterling World Cup. And now the Gunners are now filled with really good players in every position, but Wenger can only field 11 players at one time, and certainly some players will not get playing time. Now, do you expect an exit of the unwanted ones as the season wears on? One name that comes to mind is Lucas Podolski. I mean, he's in the shop window as well.
Actually, right? Podolski comes right out of my mind when you ask this question. So, yes, I believe there will be unhappiness. Every player wants to play. No one wants to be on the bench. But let's face it, we are challenging on 4 fronts. We definitely need squad depth.
All right, now, David, let's get on to you now. Your team, of course, alarmingly lost to the Gunners in the Community Shield, 3-0. Do you agree that the play was quite awful in that loss?
It was quite disappointing. Yeah, it was very much played at like a pre-season pace, the game, and the team selection as well wasn't really showed that they didn't really take it that seriously, which if I was a fan travelling down from Manchester and buying a ticket for that and spending quite a bit of money, I would have been disappointed. But as far as like a marker for the season is concerned, I'm not too worried. A lot of the players are still coming back from the World Cup, getting their fitness back up. And I don't believe it will have a negative effect on the season, to be honest.
Was that the case, or was it a case of avoiding the jinx of the Community Shield? I mean, those who won the Community Shield in the end, they flop in the Premier League. A good example is Man United last season, and even City during the era of Mancini. Don't you agree?
That's right, yeah. They beat Chelsea at Villa Park, and they looked pretty good in that game, and then they didn't really defend the title very well. But... yeah, hard to say, really.
But will it be Manchester City's year again in the Premier League, given how Liverpool and even Chelsea have stepped up their qualities?
I believe it will be between City and Chelsea. The other guys, Chelsea have definitely strengthened. Liverpool, I'm not sure. It depends on who they buy to replace Suarez. If they buy well, they may be competing. If United buy well, they may compete. But Liverpool and United, it all depends on who they buy between now and September.
Well, Brian, do you agree? I mean, he just praised Chelsea, basically. They're one of the dark horses for the title this year.
Yep. I mean, I agree with David, but I also feel that Arsenal are also very strong. Because Arsenal, they signed Alexis Sanchez. And I think Liverpool, like what you say, if Liverpool do manage to sign a quality striker to replace Suarez, then Liverpool, they do have what it takes to challenge for the title.
So right now you're saying Liverpool are not good at all. Victor, are you going to take that lying down? What's your comment on that? I mean, they're not part of the top four, or perhaps a title winner this year?
I would say Liverpool will be among the top four, but because there's too many new players, they need time to settle down.
But you guys almost won the title last year. I'm sure this year you might want to go one up against the City fan that are sitting right beside you there.
Well, let's be honest. Last season, when we beat Manchester City, we were lucky. But now, because we lost Suarez, we need to find someone to replace the 30 goals, which is quite difficult. But life goes on.
well, more on Liverpool in a second. Now, Brian, I'm back to you. Would you think that it's going to be a failure for Jose Mourinho if he doesn't win the title this year? I mean, he will eventually run out of excuses if he doesn't win the EPL.
I think it will be considered a failure if he fails to win either the Premier League or the Champions League, because these two are like the two of the top trophies that Roman Abramovich wants to win. And like last year he said that we are the small horse compared to the big horse like Manchester City. Right. Yep. And I feel that this year, we are indeed the big horse. And in yesterday's press conference, he did say that we are genuine title contenders. And I do agree with him because of the squad members that we have. I feel that we have a very nice blend of experience as well as youth. And our youths, they did quite well in the under 21 and under 18s. So I feel that we are the dark horses, and hopefully we will win the Premier League.
Yeah, well, actually, all 5 of us are hoping to win the Premier League, and me being a Manchester United fan. But before we go on ahead with our show, let's unveil the winners of this week's phone-in contest. And congratulations to Teo Hong Chua. You've won yourself an Arsenal home jersey. And Go Chin Kiat, you've won the Gunners away jersey. You answered correctly. Which trophy did Arsenal win last season? The answer, of course, is the FA Cup. Now, the Gunners beat Hull City 3-2 at Wembley Stadium for their first silverware since 2005. And a big thank you as well to our friends from Puma for this week's prizes. Now, let's get back to our show now. And Victor, Liverpool will not have the services of Luis Suarez, as you've mentioned earlier. He went to Barcelona. Is that going to be a very, very big loss for the Merseysiders?
Yes, of course. It's difficult to replace him at all. But life goes on. Hopefully the Reds can do well.
Well, you have to admit he was the single-handed reason why the Reds played so well last season, right? But question is, can Raheem Sterling and Daniel Sturridge up their game to make up for the shortfall of goals with Suarez's departure?
Yes, with the experience for both of them during the World Cup, they should be able to up the game, and we should not depend on those two. The rest of the team have to contribute as well, like Coutinho, Gerrard, Henderson. They have to chip in the goals to make the team successful, because soccer is not played by just only two players.
Yeah, and not to forget the new signings like Ricky Lambert, Lallana.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Now, Kafa, I wonder what's your take on Suarez's departure from Liverpool. At one point, if I remember correctly, Arsenal tried to sign the Uruguayan, didn't he?
Yes, we did. But yes, I think Liverpool without Suarez is a weaker team now because they definitely lack the bite up front.
What about others, man? I mean, there's Steven Gerrard. Don't they make up Liverpool as well?
Yeah, but
or do you think it's
30 goals it's a 30 goal machine for a season. So how yes, they have been buying actively on the transfer market and all, but I don't see them distributing the goal responsibility to the rest of the players.
I notice you're smiling as you say that. Does it mean that this is good news for Arsenal? Do you think that Liverpool will slip up and Arsenal will rise above them? Maybe second place?
No, I believe we will win a title.
Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. As we all know how Arsenal, they usually slip up during the Christmas period afterwards. After that,
Yes, it's been quite a few seasons that we always slip up at the second part of the season. But I believe now with more experience within the team itself, we'll definitely be able to prevent that from happening again.
Right, now, David, on to Man City. Your team has also been busy in the transfer market. Do you think that the addition of Fernando, Iliakim Mangala and keeper Willy Caballero, they are the guys who would step up and maybe help Man City retain the title?
Well, all we really needed to do was tighten up at the back to add to the title-winning squad last season that were scoring goals for fun, really. I mean, they'd scored 100 goals by January, and I don't know the exact figure, but they broke some kind of record as far as goals scored. So, yeah, a world-class centre-back is all City really needed. Fernando is a good backup. It looks like a steal for 12 million. Looks good on the ball, looks tidy, and defensively it'd be good for protecting the back four. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the signings. I'm not sure about Caballero. I mean, Hart's number one. He's England's number one. He's City's number one. He's a future potential captain.
But he's not going to start regularly.
He will in the league.
In the league.
Yeah.
So they're going to do like a Real Madrid. I mean, league, another keeper, and the cup, another keeper.
Quite possibly, yeah. I would say Caballero would start in the League Cup games and maybe FA Cup, and then League and Champions League would be Joe Hart, unless he has a slip-up like he had mid-season last season,
right,
which he recovered very well from. And his form towards the end of last season was top draw.
Right, on the topic of goalkeepers, Brian, Chelsea too have still got some sort of issue with goalkeepers. Thibaut Courtois, that man has been a giant for Belgium, as you have seen in the World Cup. Do you think that he will be the first choice keeper for the Blues? Is this goodbye for Petr Cech, the great Petr Cech?
Honestly, I feel that yes, he might be the number one keeper for Chelsea in the upcoming season because of his displays for Belgium as well as Atletico Madrid. I feel that Courtois has what it takes to actually be our number one, and I feel that even though Cech has been with us for I think almost 10 years already, but I feel that probably it's now time for a new generation to start, and it begins with Courtois.
Don't you think that's a harsh statement to make? I mean, Cech was the one who helped Chelsea win the Premier League, the Champions League even. So do you think that he deserves a bit more respect for his long service?
Probably yes, he deserves more respect, but I feel that it's nice to have competition for Cech between Courtois and him in the squad. I mean, healthy competition is not a bad thing. And I feel that he should respect the decision of Mourinho if he plans to bench him and plans to play Courtois instead. Because nobody is bigger than the club. Even though you have been with the club for a long time, I'm sure the manager just wants the best interest for the club itself if he decides to place either Courtois or Cech.
And it's like sort of the same deal with Liverpool, isn't it? You guys have sold Reina to Bayern Munich. But is Simon Mignolet a reliable choice between the posts? As mentioned, Courtois is the first choice for Belgium, Mignolet is second, but is Mignolet the man for Liverpool?
Well, if according to last season form, the answer is no. But give him the benefit of doubt because last season Liverpool defense is atrocious.
Yeah, I have to agree. Because of the defense, right? But you guys have signed Dejan Lovren from Saints. Will he be the effective player, the leader that Liverpool have been missing since the departure of Jamie Carragher?
Hopefully, he can bring his Southampton form to Liverpool and stabilize the defense. Yeah, but that will take time.
Yeah, that would take time. As he's got to, and Agger might possibly be leaving. What's the latest on that?
Well, according to the reports that he's already he's pleading to Brendan Rodgers to let him leave. But hopefully he stays.
Yeah. Well, but he's not the only guy in charge of defense in Liverpool. You've got Stevie G as well. He played in defensive midfield. But he's getting older. admittedly. Do you think it's time for him to go as well?
Maybe in about a year or two. Let the guys settle down, get a feel of the team before he step down.
Yeah, that's a really respectful way of dealing with Stevie G, right? I'm sure. Yeah, well, on that note, we'll be going for a quick traffic update. But when we come back, we'd like to hear from you as we open up the phone lines at 669-11938. We'd like to hear your opinions on the Premier League for the new season and who will make up the top four this time round. And what of Manchester United? So number to dial 669-11938. That's 669-11938. Time now for Traffic Watch.
Bonjour Singapore, this is former France and Chelsea midfield Marcel Desailly, and you are listening to the guys on 938 Live Sport.
Welcome back to the final stretch of SportsZone as we resume our preview of the upcoming English Premier League campaign. And 669-11938 is the number for you to dial should you have an opinion of the new EPL season, which gets underway tonight. Now, all eyes will surely be on Louis van Gaal, whether he'll be able to lift Manchester United back to their glory days. A new formation and a new captain is what he's done so far. And he secured 6 wins out of 6 in pre-season. Is he the saviour that the Red Devils need? Is his well-known disciplinarian style the antidote for the club's woes they suffered last season? Now, let's hear a few words from the Dutchman himself on his very first media conference last month.
You have to know that I'm not always convinced of the experience of players. A boy like Clarence Seedorf, he was 16 years old. I let him make his debut in the Ajax squad at that time. But with 16-year-old, he was sometimes more experienced than a player of 30 years old. So always it's very important that we have experienced players, but not only in age, not only in football experience, but also experience as a human being. Because my philosophy is not only the football player, but in total. And then there are not so many experienced players.
Louis van Gaal there showing that he's not afraid to drop the regular first team players in favour of performance. Now, that's like a small insight and as to how his philosophy is going to be in the new season. Now, David, as a fan of city rivals Man City, what do you make of LVG himself?
Very charismatic, very successful, huge proven track record, and I'm pretty sure they'll finish above 7th this year.
Whoa. But is he a threat though for City's title charge? You saw how good he was managing Holland and even Bayern Munich before that.
Fantastic. I mean, his track record for bringing through young players from Barcelona and from Bayern Munich and from Ajax is it's brilliant, and I think it can only be good for the English game. Hopefully he'll bring through some good English players for United, and it's good to have both Manchester teams challenging at the top.
Now, the Red Devils though still need to sell and buy a couple of players. And namely, for me, I think they should be letting go of Nani, Anderson, Chicharito, and Fellaini, and even Shinji Kagawa. What do you think of this, Brian?
I feel that Nani should go, Anderson should go, but I feel that Kagawa should stay because I feel that last season Kagawa wasn't really given a chance to prove himself because David Moyes was benching him for most of the season, and I feel that Chicharito should stay because he is a quality striker, and I feel that. To me, in terms of movement, he's a lot more better than Danny Welbeck.
That's right. I mean, Man United will have to need some goals, seeing how Van Persie is injury prone and Rooney he might even get injured, right? They might need somebody to fill up that gap.
Yes,
I would say with the new formation of 3-5-2 with 2 strikers up front. Yeah,
precisely.
Right now we have a caller on the line. His name is Vic. Good morning, Vic.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, welcome to SportsZone on 938 Live. Do you have an opinion to share on the new EPL season?
Yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan.
All right.
And, I think, realistically speaking, it's difficult for Liverpool to get the title if they don't get a prolific scorer because this time, they are going to go into many tournaments and looks like they're just going to rest the shoulder on Sturridge. And I think it is impossible to just... they got good players like Sterling, and they got some well-known midfielders, attacking midfielders and all that. But I hope that Brendan Rodgers or the club gets a good striker.
So a good striker then for Liverpool. But what do you think of the other teams, Manchester City, Chelsea even? Are they a threat to Liverpool?
Well, my heart says not to pick for Chelsea because I never liked Jose Mourinho.
Okay.
But looks like they have a good squad and they will pose a challenge. I don't think the Charity Shield game Manchester City actually fielded, like one of your guest speakers said. They really didn't come and actually play for the Charity Shield. So I don't think that's an indication that Man City will not do well, but they will try to retain the title. As you also said that Champions League is one of their priorities. But I can't, if you ask me to bet, I think Chelsea has a good chance.
All right. And before you go, though, a quick word on your main rivals, Man United. Earlier you heard a clip on how LVG isn't afraid to drop players. Do you think Man U will rise again?
Not this season. A very good manager. I support Holland. You get what I mean? He's a good manager. And of course, you will never hear me supporting Man U, definitely. But I think that, for example, I think maybe another year, another season, and he has to adjust to the EPL, and also similar to Liverpool, they got to still get one or two good players to beef up their squad.
Right, that's right, Vic. Looking forward indeed to the new Premier League season. Thanks a lot for coming on to our show. Pleasure having you on there.
Okay, bye.
All right. Now, David, he mentioned a bit about Man City there.
Yep.
What do you think about that? They just strolled in the Community Shield, but they're not going to reveal all their cards, right, for the new season?
Yes,
that stage?
they did really sort of play the game at, like I said before, like a pre-season friendly. There wasn't that much intensity. Arsenal wanted it a whole lot more, and Arsenal really deserved to win. It would have been nice for them to have a bit more of a crack, but maybe they didn't want to get injured before the season started. A lot of the players are still not even half fit for match fit for ready to start the season. But yeah, it would have been nice for them to at least feel an English player.
Right.
It's all foreigners.
Now, Kafa, Vic mentioned a bit about Man United. They're not going to do that well this season, perhaps next season. What do you think of Van Gaal's debut in the Premier League later?
I believe Van Gaal will do well, and Man United can return back to the top 4. Because now without the Champions League distraction, they will definitely come back to the top 4.
Victor, do you think that they're going to do a Liverpool like what they did? They didn't have Europe last season, if I'm not mistaken, right? And do you think Man U will replicate Liverpool?
Not so early.
Not so early as well.
Yes, because first, LVG, he needs to find the best players at his current squad. It's the same like when Brendan Rodgers took over Liverpool. The first season was the testing period before he has the idea what to do with the team.
Brian, as a Chelsea fan though, but let's say you were in Van Gaal's shoes. Let's play a little fantasy football here. Who do you sign? Who do you bring in to beef up the squad at Old Trafford?
If I was LVG, I feel that I'll bring in at least 2 centre-backs. Because Rio Ferdinand and even Vidic has left. And this pairing has been like a very good success for Man U over the past few seasons. And if I'm him, I will buy in good and so-called affordable central defenders. If I have to name an example,
there was Mats Hummels
Matt Hummels.
Yeah,
and also probably I would have signed Dejan Lovren, but Liverpool got it. Yeah, and I feel that he also needs another midfielder or probably a striker if he plans to sell either any of his strikers away. Because I feel that Mata and Kagawa, they both need additional help because in case Man United needs more creativity in the midfield area.
Yeah, speaking of Man U's midfield, Arturo Vidal is one of the transfer targets, but he's here in Singapore for the Juventus game tonight. Do you think that Vidal is going to leave Juventus for Man U, David?
I still think there's issues with his fitness. He's got a bit of a glass knee, which I think he had it operated on before the World Cup. I think that's the main thing that's holding up that transfer. If he was fully fit, I think he'd be already signed for Man United.
Yeah, I believe he still is. He's still got an injury on his knee. I went to his training yesterday. His knee has been strapped with ice after he left the training session. So I don't know. Maybe he's staying at Turin.
I think United will be looking elsewhere, but they need a box-to-box midfielder. United, big time, and another winger maybe.
Yeah,
and like Iman said, at least another two centre halves. So they're quite a few players short of competing, but they'll get some results. They'll beat some big teams this season. Maybe top 4.
Maybe top 4.
Maybe.
All right. Now, before we end the show, though, let's look at the upcoming fixtures for the season openers this weekend. Now, Victor, your Liverpool will take on Southampton, as mentioned, tomorrow night. What are your predictions for the game and why?
Well, I would say probably a 2-0 win. Because first thing, I will not say that it will be a big win. Has Liverpool, most of the Liverpool players are new, and we should not underestimate Southampton because there's always a sucker punch.
Yeah, that's right. In football, you'll never know, right?
Yes.
You can't really predict this kind of things. Now, Brian, it's your Chelsea against Burnley on Tuesday morning. Easy win. You steamroll past the Burnley
hopefully we can steamroll past them. Hopefully I can see a Diego Costa hat-trick. But we should not underestimate Burnley, because when they first came out to the Premier League, they faced Man U at Turf Moor and they beat them 1-0.
That's right.
Yeah, so I feel that we should be cautious in this game and not be overconfident. But I'm still hoping for a Chelsea win.
Scoreline?
Probably a 3-0.
3-0.
A Diego Costa hat-trick.
All right. Now, David, it's the Citizens against Newcastle tomorrow night. Is it going to be as easy as it looks? Your predictions?
Like I said before, the players are probably still not quite up to match fitness, so I think we might just about scrape through 1 or 2-0. I can't see it being big scoring game. Maybe it will. I hope so, but there'll be some rusty players.
All right, Kafa, very quickly, scoreline. Arsenal, Crystal Palace.
2-0.
2-0. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for Sports Zone today. Big thank you to our guests today, David Reed, Brian Ting, Ng Kafa, and Victor Ko. Till next time, I'm Noor Farhan. Take care and bye for now.